Hi and welcome to bexbugoutsurvivor. A little while ago we had a little boil test. The test was if I could only give you one of two items, a windshield for your stove or a lid, what would you choose? Which one? Now you can only choose one. What would you choose to make the boil a bit quicker? Windshield or lid? Windshield or lid? You're choosing the lid and I'll have the windshield. So that's exactly what I did. I took them out, a windshield and a lid, and first of all we did a control burn, which was neither lid or windshield, got a time on it. Excuse me. Yeah, we got a time on it, and then I did with the lid, and then another boil with a windshield. Now the windshield was significantly quicker. However, regardless of me clearly titling that video and clearly showing a thumbnail of a windshield and a lid, people don't bother reading, they just jump straight in to the video, assume I'm doing the lids on, lids off boil test, which I've already done, and then start complaining. And I have managed to save one such complaint, and he said I'm doing my boil test wrong. Now this is regarding the lids on, lids off, although technically that video had nothing to do with lids on, lids off, but he said I was doing it wrong, and if I did it again it would prove to me that putting a lid on your pot will make water boil quicker. So I'm going to read this out. Was I actually wrong about this? Because if I am the first person who will actually, admit to my own mistakes and say, perhaps I was wrong. Water perhaps does boil quicker with the lid on. It's just, in my experience, it doesn't. And I've done this many times, this experiment. And it's simple. You put a lid on your pot and then another without, you time it. That's all I can do. But apparently I've been doing that wrong. His comments got quite aggressive. In the end, he ended up deleting his own comments, but not before I screenshot them. So I'm going to put it on screen here and read this out. Okay, there's the guy who commented in the top left. It says, Bex, here's a comparative test for you. Go in your kitchen now with everything the same except lid on and off. Start with exactly same water temp, volume, pot stove setting, etc. Bring to boil with lid on and the other with lid off. Now tell me which boils quicker. That is a true comparative test, and that will prove you wrong. And by the way, you don't spell prove like that, my friend. So where he says here, go in your kitchen, perhaps he should go back to school. So I left it. Only 5 hours later, he's commenting again. This guy is, his head's about to explode. 5 hours later, this is. Again, I say, well, you can say as many times as you want, I'm not subordinate to you. I don't work for you. Again, I say, have test, same temp, water, same room temp, identical water volume, no wind gusts. So he wants me to do this indoors, desperate. Test all identical, once with lid on, once with lid off. It will boil quicker, lid on. Also, your control test was completely different test to lid on, lid off. Well, of course that test is completely different to lid on, lid off. If only he'd have read the title and had a look at the thumbnail, he'd quite clearly seen that the video was about a windshield versus a lid for a quicker boil. Of course, this experiment had nothing to do with lids on, lids off. It was because it was lid on versus windshield. He says to go in my kitchen and do it again. So I thought, what if I'm wrong? So I did what he said. I went inside into the kitchen where I'm obviously camping, you know, in the kitchen, and I did the test, and this is the result. So in the name of fairness, I am actually going to boil water with the lid on and one with the lid off, with the same amount of water from the same jug of water. What I'll be doing is split screen, but using the same hob. Let's time indoors, lid on, lid off, because apparently, according to the guy in the comments, if I do it, it'll prove that the lid on in fact boils quicker. It'll prove it to me once and for all. When I said in the feature that I did outdoors, that indoor results have no correlation to the outdoors, he argued with me over that and says, of course it does. Do your testing indoors. Which brings me back to the point I was making. Even if the lid does in fact boil water quicker, I am still not camping in the kitchen. Now tell me which one boils quickest. That's a true comparative test, and it'll prove you wrong. So where he says, now tell me which one boils quickest. Well, you've seen with your own eyes. I said an indoor test has no correlation. He says it does. He says, of course it does. And he got quite vocal about that as well. And I'm trying to explain to him, look, even if with a lid on, your pot does boil quicker with the lid on, and you are testing indoors, I haven't got my tent and my sleeping bag pitched in the kitchen. I just haven't. I am camping outdoors and the test is being done indoors. It has no correlation, indoors, outdoor testing. You need to test outdoor kit in the outdoors. And for Christ's sake, on YouTube, I've seen people review a sleeping bag in their living room in front of a log fire. I don't know what kind of review that is, because I'm certainly not going to get any valuable information from that kind of review. Anyway, so there you go. There's that guy's comment. I did the test indoors, like he said, and still the results were the same.